Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I never thought my career as a textile artist would involve so much paperwork, let alone a strategic paper siege. My troubles began with George Olivares, the pompous head of the Regional Artisans Collective. I'd poured months into a proposal for a major public art installation, a tapestry depicting our city's history. My design concept was innovative, vibrant, and as it turned out, exactly what George wanted, but not from me. He summarily dismissed my proposal, claiming I'd failed to follow proper submission protocols outlined in Article 7, Section B of the collective's bylaws. Essentially, he argued my initial digital drafts and subsequent emailed progress reports weren't official physical documentation. He then, conveniently, had an associate artist complete a project strikingly similar to my concept, all while having me removed from the collective. He effectively stole my work and blocked my biggest career opportunity. When I challenged him, he just smirked. Documentation, Adelaide, is paramount. Digital is fleeting, physical is concrete. He insisted on an internal review of my deficient submission, demanding all original physical documentation related to my project. He made it sound like a few neatly bound reports. Living a 2-hour drive from the collective's downtown office, and already struggling financially after being ousted and losing the commission, repeated trips or expensive courier services were out of the question for a reasonable person. But I wasn't feeling reasonable. I remembered George's condescending tone when he'd rebuffed my attempts to send large files digitally. Adelaide, he'd said with a sigh, Article 7, Section B, is crystal clear. All official documentation must be delivered in person to the collective's designated receiving office during business hours or sent via registered postal service. No digital submissions. It was an old rule designed for a bygone era, perfectly weaponized by George. Okay, George, you want physical, you got it. I spent the next 2 weeks meticulously printing every single digital file related to that project. Every preliminary sketch, every fabric swatch photo, every dye test result, every loom tension calculation. I printed out every single email exchange with George and the collective staff, every version of the contract, every photograph of the work in progress, every mood board element. Even my failed attempts and discarded ideas found a place. I then headed to the local post office where I became a regular. I bought hundreds of small, identical envelopes. For every single item, a single printed email, a small swatch photo, a crumpled preliminary sketch, I placed it in its own envelope, meticulously labeled it, and registered it individually. Each one got its own tracking number. Another one, Adelaide, the postal clerk, Ramai, would ask with a knowing smile by the 3rd day. My financial struggles meant I couldn't afford a single, massive registered shipment, but I could afford the basic registered mail fee for hundreds of small envelopes, staggered over a week. So I started sending them, not in one batch, but in dozens of small batches throughout the day, every day. Or on some days, I'd drive the 2 hours, hand-deliver a stack of individually registered envelopes to the collective's designated receiving office, then drive home, only to return the next day with another stack. The poor intern, Lily, initially tried to politely decline the endless stream of small, individually tracked envelopes. Ms. Adelaide, she'd begun, couldn't these be combined? I just smiled sweetly. Article 7, Section B, Lily, states all official project documentation. It doesn't specify how it must be organized beyond being physical, and my instruction from Mr. Olivares was to provide all original documentation, which includes every single piece. I pointed to the collective's bylaws prominently displayed. The fallout was predictable and utterly satisfying. Within days, the collective's small receiving office was drowning. George's designated receiving area, a modest corner with a single shelf, became a literal mountain of small, identically labeled, registered envelopes. Lily and the other office staff were overwhelmed. The daily postal deliveries looked like Christmas, only instead of presents, it was hundreds of official-looking envelopes, each requiring signing and processing. George's tidy office, known for its minimalist aesthetic, now had stacks of my documentation spilling into the hallway. I received a curt email from George, asking me to consolidate future submissions. I politely replied, "Dear Mr. Olivares, as per Article 7, Section B, and your specific instructions, I am providing all original physical documentation related to the project. Consolidating these unique, original pieces would compromise the integrity of the individual documents. I assure you, I am meticulously adhering to the collective's bylaws." I knew he couldn't argue with his own rules. Eventually, a few weeks later, I received a very different email. George, through a very terse message from Lily, informed me that the internal review had concluded. They found insufficient evidence to support my removal based on procedural grounds, and offered me a token sum for my initial design work, implying it was a gesture of goodwill rather than an admission of guilt. He also rescinded my removal from the collective, though I had no intention of rejoining. They didn't even ask for any further documentation. The sheer volume of paper had clearly broken his spirit and his system. I never heard him mention digital is fleeting again. Be careful what you ask for, especially when it involves an artist with a lot of physical documentation.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.